everyone, welcome back to Watergum Online. I'm Lauren and I'm here to talk to you about our next citizen science program, which is seagrass. So some of you are probably wondering what seagrass is. Well, despite its name, it's not actually grass. It looks like grass, which is why people call it seagrass, but it's actually more closely related to a lily than grass that you see growing in people's lawns. A lot of people get confused between algae, marine algae, and seagrass. Now they're very different, and marine algae is much more primitive. The main difference that we can show you right here is that whereas marine algae tends to float around in the water and photosynthesize and get all of its energy just by floating around, seagrass needs root systems that go beneath the surface. That you can actually see some of the roots here from this plant that's washed up, and these take all the nutrients the plant needs from the substrate, and it also binds the silt together, which creates a really lovely habitat. You're probably wondering, why is seagrass so important? Well, there's a whole heap of reasons why it is, and I'm going to tell you a few of the quick facts. So firstly, it's a really vital habitat for a whole array of crustaceans, fish, birds. When we look around the flats that we're standing in right now, you can see birds feeding on the edges. If you could see into these little puddles down here, you could see little hermit crabs and mollusks and all sorts of animals down there. And also, when we look, we're right next to these mangroves, and these two habitats combined provide a really important habitat, a nursery habitat for juvenile fish and prawn species. Okay, fact number 2, the seagrass is a really important food source for some of our most iconic marine species. So the turtle, he loves seagrass. He can get through about 2 kilograms a day. And dugongs, which are found within the Broadwater and the surrounding area, they can eat up to 40 kilograms a day. Okay, fact number 3, seagrass keeps our water clean, so it filters out the pollution. Number 4, as I mentioned before when we were talking about the roots, seagrass actually keeps hold of the sediment. It binds it together, which prevents coastal erosion. Fact number 5, seagrass is known as a blue carbon ecosystem. All that means is that it is a really important ecosystem in the fight against climate change. It's really good at taking carbon dioxide from the air and storing it with. Seagrasses need our help. There's a few things that are affecting them on a global basis and also on a local basis, and I can show you one of them right here. So if you see, when we look at the seagrass meadow, that there's a big gouge right in here going round. It's quite a sort of straight shape, and there's sort of lines everywhere you can see crisscrossing the seagrass beds. These are often caused by propellers from the boats that come in too close, and also from water sports activities like kitesurfing. One of the main threats to seagrass is decreased water quality. That essentially means anything that goes into our waterways and churns up the sediment and makes the water dirty can block the light from the seagrass so they can't grow. Other things that can affect it include overfishing, coastal development, and a lot of different human activities. You might be asking yourself, why do we want to come out here and check out the seagrass? Well, it's really important because by continuously monitoring the seagrass beds, we get a good idea of whether they're healthy or not. And we have a great partnership with the council, which means that we can give them information on the health of the seagrass, and they can make important decisions about what they need to do to protect it. To do a seagrass survey, we're going to need some scientific equipment. I've got some of what we need right in front of me here, and I'll briefly talk you through it. This guy right next to me here, this is called a bathoscope, and essentially it's like a big magnifying glass that we can use to look through the water. This right here is how we label our photographs that we take during the seagrass survey. Now we take photos to make sure that we're on track with our estimations. This means South Stradbroke Island, site number 2, transect number 1, and we'll talk a bit more about that in a minute, and quadrat number 5. This is a quadrat, and it provides us with a way to estimate how much seagrass there is on the mudflat. We don't want to count each individual blade, so we're going to use a few tools to do it. We place our quadrats every 5 meters along a 50-meter transect line. Essentially, it's a bit like a big measuring tape, and we lay it out in the field to give us some guidance about where we need to survey. And we keep it down using these pegs right here. Most importantly, our data sheet. This is where we collect all the information in the field. We use a pencil so that if it does rain, it doesn't all wash off. Alright, we're ready to start a seagrass survey. The first thing that we need to do is lay out our transect tape, and Jamie here, one of our most experienced volunteers, is going to help me do it. Okay, I'm going to get Jamie to run the transect tape out 50 meters. If you could just keep to the left-hand side of the tape, Jamie, just to make sure we don't trample on our survey. Now I've got a compass to make sure that we lay it out in exactly the same direction each time we do the survey. Maybe to the right a bit. Alright, we're just going to quickly run through how we actually do a seagrass survey. So we've got here the quadrat, which we mentioned before is the area in which we estimate the amount of seagrass there is. I'm going to work with Jamie because as a scientist you often work in a team, and that way you get a better example or a better average of what the actual cover is. So we're going to have a look at this. We're going to measure the seagrass blades, which are really little here. I think it's some new growth. So this one's 2 centimeters long. Yep. This one 1.5. And let's take one from, we take them at random to try and get a good idea of what's going on. And this one's actually 3 centimeters. And I measured from the root to the tip of the blade. Once we've done that, we also need to look at what kind of sediment it is, and when I feel that it's gritty, so it's sand, but it's also really slimy, so we're going to call that silt sand. We measure the depth of the water that's in the quadrat. It's only 0.5 of a centimetre in here. We've got a really nice low tide. Now we're going to get to the important bit. Let's try and work out what species of seagrass we've got in our quadrat. So 2 of the most commonly found ones in the broadwater, and they're actually pioneer species, so they often occupy areas that are a bit disturbed. We've got Zoostria, Capricornia, which has also been self-classified as Zoostria malaria, and Halophilia ovalis, which is this one with the really rounded leaves. They're quite distinctive. So how much do you reckon we've got of each of those kinds of seagrass?
Well, looking at this, it looks like it's closer to 50-50, but yeah. The ovalis has got a bit of a high percentage, so I'd be inclined to go 60-40, so 60 to the ovalis.
Yeah, I'd say that was pretty spot on.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we need to try and work out exactly how much seagrass, well it's actually an estimate, how much seagrass there is within this quadrat. Let's have a look at the guides to give us an idea. When we look at these pictures here, it's much higher than 25, isn't it?
Much higher.
It might even be higher than 38, but I don't think it's as high as 60%. What would you say? What do you reckon?
I'd probably go like 40, maybe like 42%.
Yeah, I'd take 42. That sounds good. The other thing we like to do when we're doing our survey is we like to make a note of any animals that we find within the quadrat itself. And also if we were lucky enough to see a dugong nearby or a turtle on our way or something like that. Mostly what we find within our quadrat are hermit crabs and gastropods or marine snails. Just to recap on what we've learned today, we've learned what seagrass is, why it's important, what's threatening it, and how we monitor it. Thank you so much for joining us on Watergum Online. If you want to find out more about seagrass monitoring or any of our other citizen science programs, then please join us on www.watergum.org, and you can find out heaps of information about all of our cool projects. All right, see you then.